Hi, and welcome to part 2 of 5 of RandomJank's Guilds of Ravnica. Now, last week I talked about Dimir and Orzhov and how both of those guilds and their keywords and special cards worked well together. And this week I'm talking about 2 more. We're going to start off with Simic. Simic's keyword is Evolve. What Evolve is, it's a creature ability, and anytime you cast a new creature, the evolved creature will check that creature to see if its power and toughness is higher. If it is, then the evolved creature will actually get a +1/+1 counter added onto it, making that creature bigger, hence the name Evolve. So, within these 2 colors, you have a card called Zamak Guildmage. Now, its first ability is a green and a blue, and what it does is that any creature that gets cast, it'll have an extra +1/+1 counter put onto it when it comes into play. Really good ability. Its second ability is also a green and a blue, and it removes a +1/+1 counter from any creature that you already have in play. Now, normally you don't want to make your creatures any smaller than they already are, because, hell, big creatures are going to be a lot harder to stop. But there is a mechanic from the older set called Undying, that you might want to be able to remove those counters from them in the first place. What Undying is, when a creature dies, if it didn't already have a +1/+1 counter on it, it gets returned from the grave, with a +1/+1 counter on it. So if you have Zamak Guildmage out, and you're removing a +1/+1 counter from all those Undying creatures that you've got, you pretty much have infinite blockers, because no matter what, your creatures are coming back. There are also other cards in the set that whenever a creature dies, or whenever a creature comes back, there's new abilities that come into play from that. And it's always good to have creatures constantly coming back and forth. It's going to really confuse your opponents on what you're trying to do. And the second guild that I'm going to be talking about today is the Golgari. Now those colors are green and black. Their ability is Scavenge. It's also a creature ability. And what ends up happening is Scavenge will look for a creature that's in the grave, and then you pay a specific cost to remove that creature from the game and add a number of +1/+1 counters equal to that creature's power to any creature that you already have onto the field. Now, the way these 2 work together is just the fact that you're adding a lot of +1/+1 counters to a bunch of creatures. You want your creatures to be as big as possible, as fast as possible. Now, there is a creature that is from Return to Ravnica. It's called Lotleth Troll. It's a 2/1 trampler, and its ability is you discard a card to add a +1/+1 counter to it. Now, think about it like this. You have a bunch of Scavenge cards in your hand. You discard all of them to Lotleth Troll, and then when you have the mana, you just scavenge all those creatures onto the Lotleth Troll. It's a very cool mechanic. The problem with Scavenge is 99% of the time the cost to use your Scavenge ability is going to be more than the creature costs itself. I'm not too sure why. I'm pretty sure it's just because Wizards sees a lot of graveyard mentality cards that have been cast a lot lately, and they want to try to fix it up a little bit so that you're not just casting really cheap stuff as soon as possible. But there are plenty of ways that those 2 guilds can work together. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys and seeing what you guys can come up with. Let me know how those 2 guilds work together for you. If you like these videos, share it with your friends, and I'll be seeing you next week with another group of guilds. I'll see you next time. Last few weeks, Wizards have been releasing sets called the Ravnica block, and what that is that 2 color combinations combine together. They make 1 keyword that works very well with those 2 colors, building decks that have alternate win conditions, and today I'm going to show you one of those decks. And it starts off with a 5 mana cost artifact called Door to Nothingness.